The church told you to get your life together before you come back to God. The father in Luke 15 ran toward a son who had wasted everything, smelled like a pig pen, and had a rehearsed speech about not deserving to be called a son anymore. God did not wait for the speech, he interrupted it. And what he placed on that son before the apology was finished tells you everything about how restoration actually works. You have been waiting to return, waiting until the debt is smaller, until the habit is broken, until you have something to show for the time you were gone. You have been rehearsing the speech, the version of yourself you will present when you finally come back. But the father in this story never heard the full speech. And what happened before it was finished is the most important moment in the entire parable. Because it dismantles the most expensive lie most believers carry about what returning to God requires. Read that again. Part 1. The son hit the bottom, and the bottom was the beginning. Luke 15:14-16. After he had spent everything, there was a severe famine, and he began to be in need. He hired himself out to feed pigs. He longed to fill his stomach with the pods the pigs were eating. The text does not say he thought about returning when things got hard. It says he thought about returning when he was starving in a pig pen, envying the food of pigs. And it is exactly from that condition that Luke 15:17 says he came to his senses. But here is what nobody told you. The Greek phrase for came to his senses is eis houton to elthon. Literally, he came to himself. Not to God first, to himself. The return begins with honest self-assessment, not spiritual performance. The son did not have a religious experience in the pig pen. He had an honest moment. He looked at where he was and compared it to where he came from. And that comparison, dropping all pretense and simply seeing the truth, was the first act of the return. Most people are waiting for a spiritual experience before they come back. The son came back from an honest one. Part 2. He rehearsed the wrong speech. Luke 15:18-19. I will set out and go back to my father and say, Father, I have sinned against heaven and against you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son. Make me like one of your hired servants. He prepared 3 sentences. He was going to confess, disqualify himself from sonship, and request servant status. The speech was honest, the speech was humble, and the speech was completely wrong about what was waiting for him. He rehearsed a transaction. He did not know he was walking toward a covenant. Think about that for a second. Most people approach God with a servant speech when God is already preparing a son's welcome. You have been rehearsing what you will give up, what you are willing to accept in exchange for being let back in. But the father was not waiting for a negotiation. He was watching for a silhouette. And the distance between where you are and where the father stands is already being closed, not by your speech, but by your direction. Part 3. The father ran, and that changes everything. Luke 15:20. While he was still a long way off, his father saw him and was filled with compassion. He ran to his son, threw his arms around him, and kissed him. Still a long way off. That phrase is the theological center of the parable. The father did not wait at the door. He ran. And in first century Jewish culture, a man of standing did not run. Running required lifting the robe, exposing the legs. It was undignified, beneath the honor of a patriarch. The father chose public humiliation to reach his son faster. Now stop. Many of you will push back on this. Good, because this is where the parable becomes uncomfortable. The father absorbed public shame to close the distance before the son said a single word. Before the confession, before the apology, before any evidence of change. God does not run toward your performance. He runs toward your direction. The moment you turn, not arrive, not finish, not clean up, but turn, he is already moving. Part 4. The speech was interrupted. Luke 15:21-22. The son said, "Father, I have sinned against heaven and against you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son." But the father said to his servants, "Quick, bring the best robe and put it on him. Put a ring on his finger and sandals on his feet." The son got through the confession and the disqualification. He did not get to the servant request. The father interrupted him. The robe was the restoration of honor. The ring, a signet ring, was the restoration of legal authority. The sandals were family status. Slaves went barefoot. Sons wore sandals. Before the speech ended, the son was fully restored to everything he had abandoned. Let that land. The father did not say, "Finish your apology and we will discuss the terms." He moved faster than the speech. Restoration in this parable is not the reward for a good enough confession. It is the response to a returning direction. Type Amen if you are claiming this, that God is not waiting for you to earn your way back. He is waiting for you to turn around. Part 5. The elder brother and the question nobody wants to answer. Luke 15:25-28. The older son was in the field. When he came near the house, he heard music and dancing. He was angry and refused to go in. The older son never left. He kept every rule. He never embarrassed the family. And when the brother who had wasted everything came home to a feast, he was furious. Many of you will push back on this. Good. Because this is the moral dilemma at the heart of the story. The older son's anger was reasonable. His record was real. His faithfulness was genuine. The father had never thrown him a party. So, tell me honestly, was the father unjust? Do you identify more with the son who came back or the son who never left? Tell me in the comments. Luke 15:31-32. My son, you are always with me, and everything I have is yours. But we had to celebrate because this brother of yours was dead and is alive again. The father did not deny the older son's faithfulness. He affirmed it. But being right kept him outside the feast. The most dangerous place in this parable is not the pig pen. It is the field. Faithful, present, and refusing to go in. The robe, the ring, the sandals, the feast. None were given after a probationary period. None were given after demonstrated change. All were given at the moment of return. The Greek word for the best robe is stole, the same word used in Revelation for the white robes of the redeemed, not a trial robe. The best robe, not a temporary ring, a signet ring, not shoes for servants, sandals for sons. Here is what you have been waiting to be good enough to receive. And here is what the Father already has in his hands for the moment you turn around. You do not need to finish the speech. You do not need to arrive cleaned up. The Father is not standing at the door checking your record. He is standing at the horizon, watching for your direction. Turn around. The robe is already in his hands. If you want to understand what God does when you have been waiting for the right moment to return, watch the video on screen now. A woman waited 10 years for the one thing she asked for. What happened when she finally stopped trying to earn it will change how you pray. Drop "I received this" in the comments if you are choosing today to stop rehearsing the speech and start walking home.